I'm inside and I got issues.
Oh yeah, those are good because of the Now there's none of that.
Today's issue is KOR-DRATH #1. Story and art by Andy Smith. Story and script, Dennis Turner. Color art, Nanjan Jamberry. Lettering, Steve Dutrow. Cover A, Andy Smith and Dan Wallace. It's this cover. I'm gonna rate this on the salad scale. S for story, A for art, L for lettering, A for action, and D for drama. How does this book rank? This starts with a bunch of text telling you about the world. In an ancient land called the Shattered Reach, the proudest nation, the Dracos, thought to enslave the kingdoms across the Reach, and the enslaved fought hard to no avail. The Quamela, who are desert hermit-like camel people, used the 4 stones of the elements to flood the Reach, ascend lands into heaven. The land was scarred, but the Dracos disappeared. Elves live in the forests. Dwarves mine currency of the lands. Whole folk live in the fields and valleys, but also travel and interact with the other races the most. Orcs and trolls create new civilizations. You could say there's an orc city. Quamela be chillin' in the desert and split the stones and scattered them. Humans were more versatile, more fragmented, traveled, built cities. And there are 11 nomadic tribes of the humans. We got Breamwork, Stone of Fire, Vondor, Stone of Water, Leftgar, Stone of Air, and Jordgorn, Stone of Earth. 11 nomadic tribes took to mountain and hills. Each tribe draws upon the power of their ancestors via the ancestral mound. The story follows KOR-DRATH, who is in the Red Lion tribe. The tribe is known as the smallest but most fierce tribe of them all. It's a very legendary tribe. Any tribe that goes against the Red Lions be feared, like, oh no, we're up against the Red Lions, they're so fierce. Each tribe has a leader, chieftain, or jarl, as they call him. The jarl is leading the hunting party to replenish food stocks when they get ambushed. And they got ambushed by the anacondas. The anacondas really hate the Red Lion tribe. They're fierce rivals, and they have a big ol' fight. The anaconda jarl almost kills the Red Lion jarl, but luckily KOR-DRATH is there to protect his jarl from the other jarl. The entire anaconda people are done did. They're done. They go back to the village, and we get introduced channeling magic. Adriana, who is KOR-DRATH's partner, can channel magic. I find this to be really cool because she takes energy from other life forms. For example, KOR-DRATH gets his life energy sucked. Adriana is using her magic channeling powers to put energy, life energy, into Jarl to heal him back up. She can't create magic, but she can channel it. I really like this power scaling. It implies that there are people who can create magic, and Adriana is not one of them. She notices that there is poison in the Jarl's wound, and she takes care of that. After everything is all well and done, they have a bit of a sex, and then they talk about how they want to be together forever. It's basically marriage, but it's not called marriage. And this book is called Joining. I like the exposition in this part because it shows both characters really well. Adriana got the circlet from her father. KOR-DRATH doesn't have any parents. The mother died in childbirth, the dad is gone. And this tribe's Jarl gives him the axe. The axe was from his father. And he wields the axe really cool, and it's awesome, and I like how he uses it as a weapon. I also like how she's feeling his back, and she's like, how did you get these scars? Oh, well, it was a battle. I almost died, but we made it. And I'm like, you're just saying that casually, KOR-DRATH. The next morning, they go to talk to the Jarl, when the Jarl's like, hey, can you go slay the green Yvern and get some scales, a shield-sized patch of scales from his body, please? I like how KOR-DRATH volunteers. He's like, yes, I'll go. I'll 100% go. Even before the Jarl asks him to go, KOR-DRATH's like, I'm on it. Let's go. What do I have to do? The green Yvern attacked a caravan, and so they go do it. They go. All the Jarl says is that this chunk of Yvern is needed for a protection spell. Instead of asking if they could be joined, they're just like, all right, let's just go. And then they go running. They go big run. They make the horses too exhausted. They have an argument. We gotta let the horses rest. No, we don't have time. We have to go right now. all right, fine. And then Adriana takes life energy forces, channels some magic into the horses, gives them energy again, and then they be big running. And then they feel something off, and then the horses trip. And guess what? They find the green wyvern. One of the horses dies, which is so sad. And they have a big epic fight that lasts for multiple pages, and I know exactly what happens step by step by step, which is really fun. After getting the shield size scale flesh thing that they need, they have to go to the nearby village in order to barter for horses. While Adriana goes to a barn with horses, KOR-DRATH goes to a bar. The Scarlet Vengeance introduces themselves and pays for his inn and his food. The fact that they're introduced pretty heavily means that they're going to show up in later issues, and I can't wait for that. I like how Adriana gets her horses. She's like, yeah, they wanted 50 gold for each horse, but then I saw that their daughter was sick, and I channeled some life energy into her and healed her up, and they were so grateful, so they gave me a horse. And then they heard about how we took care of the wyvern, and so they gave us 2 horses. I'm like, all right, I like that. And then they're in the room. Here's a sign that this isn't Adriana. She's like, why don't we just sleep on the bed? It's perfectly good. And KOR-DRATH's like, we do this all the time. We should just sleep on the floor. And then Adriana, who isn't Adriana, but actually a succubus who looks like Adriana, she asks, hey, where's the stone of Jorgorn? Tell me where it is. I know you have it. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Adriana is there, like, knocking on the door. Who are you talking to? And then she bursts through the door, and then she fights the succubus, and they have a big old fight, and the succubus goes yeet. She goes, and then Adriana tries to take the magic off of him, and then it's turned out that it's too powerful for her to take off the magic. It's a charm, so she has to wait until the morning. And then they leave in the morning. But guess what happens overnight? While they're at the inn, the Red Lion tribe gets attacked by the Anaconda tribe. Oh, you thought that they were dead? No, they're undead. They got resurrected by some guy, made them undead soldiers so that they could come back to life and destroy the Red Lion tribe, and KOR-DRATH wasn't there to stop it. The succubus, while they were fighting, goes to Adriana and be like, yo, give me that circlet. Adriana be like, no. The succubus leaves, and I'm just assuming that she's gonna come again, which she does later on in the issue. But I like how Adriana's like, this must be really important. I never take it off, because it was a gift from my father. It's the way I remember him, but I will never take it off, especially now. They return home 8 hours later to a burning tribe, and the jarl is almost dead. He's not quite dead yet, but he's able to tell them what happened. There is this guy who's in red armor who rode on the horse, also in red armor, that came to the village and did a slashing at the jarl. He's like, give me the stone. He's like, I don't know, bro. I don't have the stone. The jarl tells KOR-DRATH and Adriana about this. KOR-DRATH is upset. He's really pissed. They take a blood oath, the KOR-DRATH and the jarl. They take a big old blood oath that KOR-DRATH will avenge them all. And then I like see KOR-DRATH, he's so angry, he's like, ah! I will avenge them! Ah! The jarl is like, yeah, you carry the stone in your circlet. That's why they want your circlet. She's like, what? Huh? Okay. I guess I really better protect it. And then the jarl dies, and they bury all of their dead. They burn the rest of the bodies because they don't care about the Anaconda tribe. Adriana takes an uncharred bit of hand and takes it, just keeps it away. They go to the Black Eagle tribe. They go there and they be like, yo, something bad has happened. The Red Lion tribe has been did. They be done forever. It's just me now. I like how while Adriana is talking to the shaman about this, KOR-DRATH's like, oh no, this is deeply shameful. I allowed this to happen. If it wasn't for the succubus, that bitch succubus, I would have been able to protect my tribe. And because I let myself get tempted by that succubus, I am no longer a warrior. And he like takes one side of his hair and he just like chops it all off cleanly. And everyone's like, no, why'd you do that? Don't you know that that's the side of a man's warriorness? If you cut the hair, it's essentially shaming them. And KOR-DRATH's like, I don't care. I want the shame. I let my people down. Let everybody shame me. I am responsible for all their deaths. I must avenge them, but first I must be shamed. The shaman tells more about what the scales are supposed to be used for. Yes, it's for a powerful spell, but more specifically, it's protection against undead, which means that the jarl knew that the undead were coming. And the Anaconda let that red horseman guy kill all of them and bring them back, so that they can come back stronger. Powerful necromancy, something malevolent is at play, says the shaman. The shaman's like, okay, the stone is very important. Let me show you why. Talk to the stone. Ask them to show you the power of the ancestors. And so Adriana does, and it shows that there's 3 more stones out there that they need to get. And plus, this stone that Adriana has goes perfectly into KOR-DRATH's axe. It's essentially an affinity gauntlet if you want to make things really simple. He has one of the stones. If he gets all 4 stones, then he's super powerful. Nobody can defeat KOR-DRATH. But everybody is going to want that stone from KOR-DRATH until he gets all 4 stones. They must go to Durgan, a dwarf healer. The succubus overhears this conversation. She's like, okay, I gotta get more information. And so she goes further down the road, kills a bunch of people, leaves one person there. She turns into an innocent little woman and she asks him about the healer. She does a little charm thing to get him to tell a bunch of information. After that information is delivered, she freaking decapitates him and licks his blood. I'm like, bro, succubuses, you should not trust them. Don't trust no succubus. Don't do it. Don't trust the succubus. It takes a 2 days ride, but they finally make it to the healer. And inside, they find a monster. A monster who has swallowed the healer, and they have to do a kill of the monster and then gut the monster and release the healer. The healer talks about the woman that was there, and KOR-DRATH's like, it's the succubus, that bitch. Ugh, I gotta get her. I gotta get her. Oh, I hate her. They talk about how the 4 stones will fit in KOR-DRATH's axe, and then they leave and they see a troll-like creature. They work together to stop it, and then the red armor man comes. The succubus puts Adriana to sleep as KOR-DRATH fights this guy. And KOR-DRATH's like, I'm gonna get you, do not hurt Adriana, no, 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 no. And then there's like a blast that's sent towards him and he deflects it with his axe, and then the horseman gets sucked into a portal through the ground. He's like, no, master, no, I wanted to continue this fight. Turns out he's a necronite, which I find to be fun, but also what I find to be fun is it shows that there's this guy in this throne who's like a mastermind. He's like, I'm your master, right? He doesn't say that. He is the master of this necronite, who is the master of the succubus, and the big master. He's like, there's something afoot here. I need you back. We can attack him again some other day, but for now, let's just chill. And then page flip, and it's a D&D game. Like, I really like this framing because it shows that they're done with their session for today, that they're going to do another session in the future. I like how all the players have questions. They're like, what next? What about this? What about that? What about this? And I'm like, oh wow, these are the same questions that I have. I was reading this, I'm like, man, I can't believe that this is done. I'm so glad that I have issue 2 though, so I can continue reading on. But I was reading this, and I was like, wow, this is really enthralling. I'm really enjoying this, and I can't wait for issue 2, which I already have. And that's how the story ends. Art. The art is very dynamic, fluid. I enjoy the colors. It is a limited color palette between a page or 2 pages. Not necessarily the entire book has a limited color palette, but in the 2 pages that you read, it's a limited color palette. And then you flip, and then those 2 pages are a different color palette that still work together to make the book cohesive. But also it's a different color palette, different vibe, and I like it. I also like the art style. Really complements the setting. It really complements the story being told here, and it helps with the action a lot. The character designs are really cool. I like the character designs for KOR-DRATH. Adriana, I really like the character design for Succubus. And that horse guy, The Necker Knight, technically, he's really cool looking too. The designs are very unique. There's a great use of values to establish depth, plus the perspective looks correct. I like the amount of detail on the characters. It's slightly more than the details in the background, which makes them pop. The anatomy is consistent, and so are the faces, which is incredibly hard to do, so applaud to the artist. I really like the paneling. It's great for the pacing of the book. It adds tension too. And I feel like there's enough panels to tell the story effectively. There are some seriously great splash pages in this book. Lettering, very easy to read. I like how the dialogue is straight from how those era of people would speak. Very verbose. It's not old-timey English, but it's adjacent. There's good bubble placement. I really like the green text bubble used to show that Adriana is speaking in the old tongue. Great variation of bubbles, the bubble outlining, the bolding, the italics, used when necessary, overall makes a very dynamic reading experience. I like the yellow text bubbles for the world building. Automatopoeia. There's a lot of automatopoeia. I honestly wish the automatopoeia was a little bit bigger, but I see why the automatopoeia is the size that it is. It's so it doesn't cover any artwork or anything going on in the scene. Action. Oh my goodness, it's so readable. The amount of panels used is so necessary to tell how many action beats there are in this story. I know exactly what's happening in the story, beat by beat by beat, and the action supports this. There's a lot of before shots. There's a lot of before and after impact shots. And I like the after impact shots because it shows what the impact did, like showing a guy's gut get cut or a guy getting decapitated. I always like that. There's lots of action sprinkled throughout. I'd say the ratio of action to drama in this book, it's 1 to 3. 1 action page for every 3 drama page. There's some gore, but it's not too gory. It's not comically gory. It's just enough gore to tell the story. Overall, the action is just super duper fun. Drama. Red lions and anacondas fight. Red lions win. Jarl must be healed. KOR-DRATH and Adriana want to be married. They must slay Yvern. Horses get exhausted. Adriana heals them up and they crash in front of Yvern. A horse is dead, so they go to village. Get horse and in. Succubus charms KOR-DRATH. Adriana chases her away. They leave next morning to discover the tribe is burned. Jarl dies. They go to the Black Eagle tribe to share news. Learn that these people are after Earthstone. They must find the other 3 stones. They go to Healer. They kill monster that ate Healer. And the Necker Knight wants the stone. He gets sucked up before he can get the stone by his master, and the master be like, let's do this another day. And so what does this book get on the sad scale? I was really captivated by the story. I'm not normally into this genre, but I enjoyed it a lot because of the pacing. The pacing is even. I get so much information from each dialogue. It's pretty dense. The characters, they have different voices. The world feels lived in. Overall, I just want to read the story some more. I enjoyed it a lot. If you like Conan the Barbarian, I think you would like this a lot. There is a twist that is not in Conan, that is in KOR-DRATH, that makes it different that I like a lot. I especially like the channeling of magic. There's a lot of world-building possibilities here, and I can't wait. When I opened the book, I was like, oh, there's a lot of text here, okay. Let me read this, okay, cool world. And then I continue reading it, I'm like, this is some great pacing, wow. I'm really sucked into this book. Even with all of the text there, it was a relatively quick read. The story flowed from page to page. I did not stop for a second and think, wait, what's happening here? Because it's very clear what's happening. So I've got to give this, it's a 4.5. The art, very dynamic, great anatomy. The way that it's drawn really helps support the setting and the characters, and each character design is really specific to the character, and the character design really helps flesh out a character's personality. I like how everybody wears nothing in this world. It's pretty great, including the woman. The shaman, I was looking at her outfit, I was like, How would that work with the tits of big that she has? With the outfit having like 2 little cloths covering her nipples. I'm just looking at one of the sides. I'm like, man, that would constantly fall off. That outfit would not work on me. How would that work on her? Does she not move ever? Like, is she using magic to keep that little piece of cloth on her nipple? But I really like the character designs. I like the coloring. There's a little bit of desaturation, but not much happening. I wish the color palette was a little bit tighter. I do like how the color palette changes in order to show a mood of a scene. Warm lights. Warm lights equals cozy ambiance. The cool lights make an environment feel more scary. Something is afoot here. Gives you a sense of unease. And I'm looking at the art and I'm like, man, it really seems like the artist likes to draw people. Because each person feels different. Including the background people, they feel different. Have I mentioned it's dynamic? Because it's incredibly dynamic. And so I've got to give this art, it's like a 4.5. I'd give it a 0.5 if the coloring was more solid. But that's the only contention I have with the art, really. Lettering. So easy to read. Lots of different types of text bubbles. Different functions for the text bubbles, which I appreciate. And the layouts of the bubbles are easy to read. It makes it easy for me to keep going through the story. I'm not confused at all which text bubble I have to read first. It's laid out pretty well. A good amount of onomatopoeia. I wish the onomatopoeia was a little bit bigger in some places to just show how big the noise is. But I understand why the onomatopoeia isn't bigger in some places, just because it would cover a lot of text. Overall, it's pretty easy to read. And I enjoyed reading it, even with all the words that are there. I enjoyed reading the words. I feel like the dialogue fit the world really well. And so I'm gonna have to give this, it's like a 4. Action. Wow, it's so dynamic. I love it. I love the action. It's great. There's so much action in this. And I feel like the action to the drama ratio is just perfect. The action, it feels so alive. I feel like I'm watching somebody swing an axe. The action gets me reading real quick, and I like the pacing of the action too. I feel like it's paced pretty well. I see all the beats that happen within this action scene, what's going on exactly within these sequences, and I know who wins and who loses. Overall, the action is very clear. I see this action, I'm like, this is something to aim for. I love how readable it is. I love how I just feel it. And it's not too gory, which I like. I don't like gore that much. So the amount of gore in this book is just right. So I'm gonna have to give the action, it's a solid 5. And drama, there's so much going on in this world. From the Dracos abusing to power, to the Quimella having to deal with it by using the 4 stones, and then they separate the stones, and people are looking for these stones. And guess what? Adriana has one of these stones, and a bunch of people are after them because of it. Every decision in this book feels very motivated. It makes the plot go forward. And this is very character focused. We are focused on the actions of KOR-DRATH and Adriana. KOR-DRATH is a warrior. He is very loyal to his jarl, so he'll do whatever the jarl asks him. Which is why he goes on the journey, and then he comes back to his tribe being slaughtered. And he's like, I'm gonna avenge you guys, and he's really pissed. And because he's so mad, I 100% believe his actions. He goes very hard because he feels so much regret. He feels like he could have protected the Red Lion tribe, but the succubus, that bitch succubus got to him. And reading all this, I'm like, man, this is awesome. I like this. There's so much motivation here, so much character motivation for the plot to go forward, and there's so much conflict, and there's a lot of world building in this, and I overall just really like the drama. And so I have to give the drama, it's a 4.5. And so what does KOR-DRATH #1 get on the salad scale? It gets a 22.5 out of 25. And this has been Min's Got Issues.
Oh yeah, those are good because of the